37 6090 or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest. Now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
Drive show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. Stevie Ray Vaughan playing in the background there. Bill Madden at the controls today. Bill, how are you?
I'm doing decent. Thank you very much. Glad to be with you again.
By the way, that's Bill Madden producing the show today on the controls, keeping us on the air. I'm just Doug Saltzman. Who am I? Bill's the important one on this endeavor.
That's because I can always turn off your pod here. So yeah.
Exactly. And if you don't like what I'm saying, click. Off I go.
Right, exactly. So
not that that's ever happened when I've been guests on other radio stations. They've never turned off the pod to shut me up.
No, but the check better clear. That's all I can say.
That's right, yeah. That's it. I once had a job where I sat at 7 different desks and had 6 different positions, and they kept apologizing. I kept saying, the check keeps clearing, so I don't have any problem at all.
Exactly.
So whatever they went. Either everybody wanted me at the company or nobody did. I could never figure out which one it was. Well, there's baseball being played these days right here, and it's international in scope. And he's a man of his word. Before the Pony League World Series started, and he promised to give us an update during the Pony League World Series. I think the biggest update these days has been rain. Unfortunately, it's not usually how these things happen, but joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line to talk to Bill and me, the one, the only Lanny Fratteri. Are you out there spreading stuff around to dry up the field? I have a feeling they're pulling everybody into the mix to get those fields ready to go.
Well, Doug, I'm glad that we're on the air because I can spread the word. Unfortunately, the field is unplayable because of all the torrential rains we've had, and so everything for tonight has been canceled. There's no baseball, and I feel so terrible for the players and the managers and the coaches and for the fans and for the Pony people who put all this work into bringing these 10 teams in. And I'm not sure what they're going to do. There's still technically 5 games to be played. Could be that there would be 7 games to be played, but what they might have to do, and this would be unfortunate, but what they might have to do is just declare that the 2 teams that were undefeated so far in the tournament, that would be the team from Chinese Taipei and the team from Washington County, would play in the championship game tomorrow night. I haven't received any official word on that, but the field, they've got Pony Baseball has to be concerned about putting 13, 14, 15-year-olds on a field that's not that's not playable, and so they had to wipe out everything for tonight, and I'll be anxiously waiting to find out what they're going to do about tomorrow.
It's not like we've gotten a couple of casual, showers out there. My gosh, we've had torrential downpours. You hear areas getting 2, 3, 4 inches of rain. That's tough on a major league ball field where they spent, tens of millions of dollars developing drainage systems. There's one thing to have that, but there's another thing at the amateur level. It's just not. Fields aren't built to take that sort of rain, and it's a shame that's happening. But I'm sure they're doing absolutely everything they can they can possibly do. It kind of reminds me, my gosh, you go back to the 1979 World Series, they had field crew running out with towels, sopping up puddles of water in the outfield. I remember Dave Parker pointing at them. So, yeah, rain and baseball, unfortunately, doesn't mix. But how's the tournament been going so far? You've been announcing it. You're heavily involved in this for many, many years. It's a great thing to bring to this region, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. And let me tell you, let me give you some positive news. As I told you when we started, before the tournament started, I told you that my goal was to talk to as many players as I could before the tournament started. Got to tell you this story. The team from Hagerstown, Maryland, as I was talking to them, I came across a young man by the name of Colston Piper. And I was asking all the players what their birth dates were, just in case we had a couple players that were going to be celebrating a birthday while they were in Washington County. And Colston said, "Well, my birthday is March 23rd." And I said, "Colston, that's my birthday." Well, I mentioned that on the broadcast the other day. And the Hagerstown team, after they played the game, they went back to the hotel, and the game was on TV on a replay. And Colston heard me talk about him on the broadcast and talk about the fact that we share birthdays. And last night, Colston's dad came up to the press box. He handed me a card. Colston went out and bought a card and wrote in the card, "I just wanted you to know how honored I am that I share a birthday with a former major league broadcaster." I was so touched by the thoughtfulness of this young man to have the wherewithal. Here he is, busy playing baseball in Washington County, and he went out of his way to get a card and give it to me, and I have it sitting in my mantle now. I was really touched by that.
That's a terrific story, especially coming from a kid named Colston Piper. That sounds like the name of somebody once played for the Washington Senators or something. That's a great baseball name, Colston Piper.
Well, I am in the process. As a matter of fact, I went to Giant Eagle before the game earlier today because I wrote a note back to Colston and by the way, I put in the envelope a $25 gift card to Dick's Sporting Goods, and in the card I wrote to him. I said, "We share a birthday. We share the fact that we are proud of our unique first names and our love of baseball." And I was going to give it to him today, and I guess if I don't see him tomorrow, I'll make arrangements to mail it to him. So. Really, wonderful gesture. I really do find it that for me the true. I mean, I love announcing baseball, but for me the true joy is to talk to the players and find out. Are you familiar with Scott McGinnis is the athletic director at W&J? Did you know that?
I've heard the name. I don't know him personally.
Okay. All right. Well, one of the things I asked the players before the tournament is I asked them about their hobbies, and I know when I go into this that I'm looking for young people that play a musical instrument or collect baseball cards or love to read, and I know when I do this I'm going to get a lot of. I play video games, and I always scoff at that and say, I'm not talking about that on the broadcast. But this Scott McGinnis' son, Coleman, when I asked him the other week or so ago, I said, "What is your hobby?" He said, "I like to take naps." and I said, I said, "Well, you and I have something in common there. I like to take naps too." So,
Yep. For heaven's sake.
It's great talking to the young people and hearing about them and watching them play. I mean, I'm always amazed at these 13, 14, 15-year-olds and how well they play. And we've had some great stories, some great accomplishments on the field, and like I said, that's why I'm, further really, not depressed, but really down about the fact that tonight's games were wiped out, and this has happened to, disappointed so many people.
Yeah. Well, would they not be able to extend the tournament past so many days? Do you think? Is that why they?
No, because the people that come in, the airplane tickets are bought ahead of time, and all these, the flight schedules are such that there's just no way to extend it. I don't believe there is, anyways. In past years, I've been told they couldn't do that. So
this is when you got to call some bigwigs and see who knows somebody on a board of directors at an airline and say, hey, what can we do to help these kids? Oh, geez, that would be awful not to actually have those games played. But Mother Nature never loses, that's for sure. She rules when it comes to the weather. We were talking with Lanny Fratteri about the Pony League.
Yeah, and if it had just been some rain and light rain and drizzles and all that would have been fine, because the grounds crew that we have at Pony Baseball is very accomplished and could have handled that. But the fact that we've just had so much heavy rain that it just made the field unplayable.
Yeah, that's a shame. But that's fingers crossed. We'll blame the weatherman for this one. And it's great that you've been involved in this and the personal. And I've seen you interview high school kids on the sideline before and after games, and your commitment to knowing how to pronounce everybody's names. I heard a national announcer the other day apologize for not knowing how to announce a name of somebody. I'm like, how could you not know that ahead of time? At least he apologized, but still, there's no.
Well, I think I told this before. I mean, I really seriously believe that anybody that is going to grab a microphone, that they should be ashamed of themselves if they go, PA announcers for high school football teams. It is uncalled for. It is sacrilegious to go in. If you're going to take the job as a PA announcer for a football team, you have the responsibility, whether you're doing it as a volunteer or whatever. I went to my granddaughter's field hockey game up in Brunswick, Ohio, a couple years ago, and the guy that was doing PA mispronounced my granddaughter's name, and I was so offended because the PA announcers, they walk by the coaches. Okay, it's not like they don't go right up in an elevator. They walk by the coaches, and the coaches are there hours before the game, and there's no reason whatsoever to mispronounce somebody's name. You grab a microphone, you have a responsibility to get it right.
Right, exactly. Well, we want to have you back on, Lanny, when it's time. You wanted to talk about the unnecessary things in sports. And we want to hear that Lanny Fratteri rant, because I probably agree with most of them when it comes. But we do want to have that interview. You, me, and Bill, or you, me, and Nick, whoever's working the board that day. But we do want to hear that, because we enjoy the conversations with you, and look forward to having that conversation as well. Well, we hope you get to announce more games down there, all the games for that matter. Let's see what happens.
Well, from a selfish standpoint, I hope we get the championship game in tomorrow night. It's supposed to be on KDK Plus. I know that's still unfair to a lot of the four other teams, but as I said, from a selfish standpoint, I'd love to be announcing the championship game tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm a race enthusiast. I love going to car races. And I've been to races where the rains have been so bad, they determined who the winner was based on the tryouts, as they call it. They could not, whoever had the best racing practice times, that's who they declared the winner, because they couldn't get the race in. So that happens. That happens in sports, unfortunately. Hey, Lanny, thanks so much.
All right, Doug. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate that.
You're a man of your word. You came back to give us an update. So thanks so much. All righty.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break, folks. When we come back, we're going to talk weather, but a different type of polling related to weather. All that coming up on the Drive Show. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden over there at the controls today. I'll be with you tomorrow, too. A short show tonight. We're with you till 6. Pirate Baseball pregame, 6:15. First pitch, 6:40. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Does your car sound like it's saying, "Trade me in, trade me in," every time you start it up? Well, go to Ford of Uniontown and trade it in. That's right, your Uniontown Ford dealer is ready to assist you with a new or pre-owned car, truck, or SUV purchase. Ford of Uniontown has all the deals, all the inventory, and they are ready to deal. It has never been a better time to buy a Ford. Service is their top priority. No matter where you purchased your Ford car or truck, Ford of Uniontown will be happy to service it for you. They offer Ford-trained technicians, Ford-certified parts and service, 1-year, 12,000-mile parts warranties, and new state-of-the-art service equipment. Call or stop in today to see the hometown service of Ford of Uniontown, Route 40 West across from Applebee's. So listen to your car the next time you hear it say, "Trade me in, trade me in." Ford of Uniontown, Route 40 at the top of the hill.
Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. Step back in time this Labor Day weekend at the Friendship Hill Association's Whiskey Rebellion Festival, Saturday and Sunday, September 5th and 6th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Friendship Hill National Historic Site on Route 166 in New Geneva. Experience history in a family-friendly setting. Take a self-guided cell phone tour. Watch Albert Gallatin and George Washington discuss the 1791 whiskey excise tax. Was it nasty or necessary? Hear and visit with author Brady Kreitzer on Saturday and historian Tom Karlowicz on Sunday. Enjoy the barbecue buggy and Mamaruka's old-fashioned sodas and floats. Twice a day, the Park Service's 6-pounder cannon plays the part of the Watermelon Army's Federal Artillery, and it is prepared and fired, too. It's a weekend in our National Historic Site, showing how our local history became national. The Whiskey Rebellion Festival, September 5th and 6th from 11 to 4. Free admission. $1 per car donation appreciated for parking. For more information, visit the Friendship Hill Association Facebook page. If you are looking for a trusted local law firm with a strong commitment to their clients, look no further than Zebley Law Offices. Attorney Zebley has been practicing law in Fayette County for more than 4 decades. Although specializing in bankruptcy, Zebley also handles real estate matters, civil suits, collections, wills, powers of attorney, and more. If you need legal help, go with a name you recognize and trust. Call Zebley Law Offices today at 724-439-9200.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles, and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
That is David Bowie and Queen. A lot of people forget Queen was part of that song. And although Bill will correct me if I'm wrong, Bill Madden?
Yes.
David Bowie and Queen are in that song, right?
That is Under Pressure.
Under Pressure. Most folks think it's just David Bowie.
Yeah.
or maybe Ziggy Stardust. I don't know who he was at that point in his career.
Well, yeah.
I want to thank Lanny.
It
Lanny
might have
Terry
been, yeah. Go ahead.
It could have been Ziggy Stardust, his alter ego. I want to thank Lanny Terry for joining us in the first half of the show there, talking about the Pony League World Series, which is right down the road in Washington County. Let's hope they can get those games in. The weather around here has been absolutely awful. We don't usually do themes of topics during the show, but suddenly I realized we're also going to talk about weather once again here with our next interview. And by the way, stick around, folks. Pirate Baseball news at the top of the hour, national, local news, sports, weather, and then, of course, Pirate pregame, 6:15, first pitch, 6:40 this evening. But joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, the Senior Fellow, Public Affairs and Media Research with the Associated Press Nork Center for Public Affairs Research at the University of Chicago. She must have an awfully big business card, Marjorie Conley. Marjorie, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you guys?
Good, good. You know, polling is, and most folks, when they think of polling, they think of political polling, who you're going to vote for, you have a positive or negative opinion of a president, whatever it might be. But AP Nork is very interested on participate in polling, whether they know. Yeah, I at a rest stop on the turnpike about a week ago, and I bought something and swiped my credit card and took care of that, and then it popped up. Were you pleased with this? And I hit yes. I was pleased. There was a poll. They just took a poll as I was standing there, and so I was pleased with the service. So polling takes in every example. And AP North's very good at really getting a variety of topics. This most recent one, I wouldn't have guessed this one. Most Americans, I could have guessed the results maybe, but I wouldn't have guessed the topic. Most Americans have been affected by extreme heat year. Around here these days, been affected by extreme storms. We've really been walloped. But tell us about, first off, how did the topics come about for AP North, what you want to poll on?
Well, there's a couple of ways that we decide on the topics. One is a lot of times it's because of AP has a reason that they want to do something, and they have editors that are doing a project on something, and that's a lot of it. And very often we have other clients very often that want to do surveys on a project on a particular subject. And then AP will join us. In fact, because of the environment, the University of Chicago has a whole department called EPIC, and I forget what the stands for, Environmental Protection something. And we do a lot of polls with them that AP reports on. This poll actually was not done with EPIC, but some of the questions were asked in the past by EPIC. And if you look at the questionnaire, you'll see that we have trends from EPIC surveys. But so there's a lot of different ways. The previous poll that we did, we had an oversample of Jewish respondents, and it was because there was a whole section of the AP that wanted to ask questions. Their religion section wanted to ask questions about of Jewish respondents about Jewish subjects. So we have different reasons for doing things. You know, we always ask, you know, what is your opinion about the president and various issues about what's going on in Washington, but we almost always have something else we ask about. And those are the ones that you're usually interested in. You know, the ones that are about our sports or about the environment or about different topics that are not exactly the typical ones. Right, Doug?
Exactly. And I'm always shocked by how people's opinions change so drastically. I think when you think about political polling, George H.W. Bush, 1 year before he lost to Bill Clinton and got 37% of the vote, had a 90% approval rating. And then he loses a year later. I'm always shocked that people's opinions can change. I mean, when you think about a president got elected with 43% of the vote to 37% to 17%, about how polling changes, and certainly the way polling is done has changed, and we've talked about that in the past as well. So let's talk about this particular poll. adults are increasingly likely to say extreme heat in the past year has impacted not just their electricity bills, but outdoor plans and other routines. Give us some of the numbers on that and how it's compared to.
All right. So, yeah, so they'll say, like, you know, we asked the same question in July of 2024. So we found that about 4 in 10 said their electricity bills in 2024 had been majorly impacted by extreme heat. And this time it was very close to 50%. Whether their family activities were majorly affected by a fifth, and now it's 30%. Almost every issue we asked about, from like, you know, your pets to timing of events, everything went up. Even if it was things that weren't very big, everything went up. But what was interesting, and I thought it was surprising, was the question we always ask is whether you think about climate change. And even though more people are thinking that more people think that they're being affected by extreme weather or extreme heat, the percentage of people who say that climate change is happening has gone down. And now it hasn't gone down. It's still a majority. It's still a large majority. It was, you know, in September 25, it was 73%, and now it's 66%. It's still most of the people say that climate change is happening. But even that it's come down when so many people think their lives are changing because it's so hot out. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, on a topic like that, if you were to ask 10 people a definition of climate change, you might get 9 different answers of how they interpret what climate change is. So when you ask a question like that, do you give a brief description of the topic,
we just
or do you just say,
do you think it's happening, or do you think it's not happening?
I see. Yeah, otherwise
and then we follow
maybe
that up. We follow it up, when we say, do you think it's caused by human activities, caused mostly by human activities, caused by human activities and natural changes, caused mostly by natural changes, or caused entirely by natural changes? Most people think it's caused at least entirely or mostly by human activities. Not like an overwhelming, it's like 57%. It's not, you know, not everybody thinks it's all human activities. But, you know, more than half think it has something to do with human activities.
You think of a region like ours here in southwestern Pennsylvania. When I was a kid in the 60s and 70s, and my dad, who worked at the mill, he would come home, and I could sweep the soot off the hood of his car from it being in the parking lot at the mill. So I wonder sometimes, like, the air here in greater Pittsburgh and southwestern PA is so much cleaner than it was back in the day when streetlights came on at noon, because the pollution was so bad.
Was better. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, when I was growing up in New York, pollution was like, yes, they said that the pollution in New York City was like they just made fun of New York City because our pollution was so bad. And my cousins lived in Western New York, and there was dead fish all over the Great Lakes. And that's not the case anymore. However, so the water got better, but there's still, like, you know, problems.
Right. The Cuyahoga River, which is in Cleveland, caught fire.
Is that the one that went on fire?
In June 1969, I remember writing a paper about it in high school. The ultimate example, when a river catches fire, might be some issues. I mean, and when you think about it, people might say, well, no, climate's not changing. It can't be happening because, no, the pollution's not like it was. So everybody would interpret that differently. I'm Doug Saltzman, by the way. Bill Madden, producing the show today, joining us for a discussion about this. So, yeah, this is what I like about AP North's polling, is it's on such a variety of topics. And everything from sports to politics to weather, you name it. I can't bring them all up, to religion, all those topics you're not supposed to talk about, you know, at Thanksgiving dinner. Although I don't ever remember a sex poll, but I'm sure there was at some point. You know, religion, politics, and sex, I guess, are the three no-nos at Thanksgiving dinner that you're not supposed to talk about.
I'll have to suggest
so,
that. I don't
Bill,
know if
if
we've
you
done
want-
that or not.
I was going to
jump in? Do
say,
you have anything?
as long as Cosmopolitan is still out there, there will be sex polls. That's
Oh, there
You're
have
right.
been them. I just don't know if AP Newark has done them. I'll have to look and see if we've done those. We probably have done them to some degree, but
I
top
suppose
issue.
that might be the case. Bill, do you want to jump in? Do you have any questions for Marjorie as we wrap up our discussion with her?
No, I'm just wondering if you ever do you ever give a line that says "I don't know" or something like that?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, in some cases, it depends on the question, but in some cases we actually offer that, or don't you know enough to have an opinion? We don't always do it. We don't know. You always can say, I don't know, or I want to skip this question. You can always do that. But in some cases, if it's like a particularly, a question that we think, oh, people don't know, don't even think about this kind of issue, we will say, do you think this, or do you think that, or don't you know enough, or don't you know enough about this issue to have an opinion? We've done that in the past. So we do. It depends on. You don't always offer it because sometimes people jump to I don't know anything. But so you could. But whenever you do a poll, it depends on the polling company, of course. But in our polls, you can always say, I don't know.
Right. And it's interesting too when we would do polls at times and ask people an answer to a question, which isn't really polling, but it was interesting that we would occasionally just throw something in almost for a laugh when we were doing a poll for a company, and they would say, hey, just for fun, ask people if they know what is celebrated on Labor Day or what's celebrated on Memorial Day, and the answers we would get, or when was the War of 1812 fought, things like that would just blow us away at times, people's civic understanding. It reminds me of Jay Leno, who used to go out on the street with a microphone doing jaywalking and ask people questions, like, who do we celebrate on Martin Luther King Day? And somebody said Jesse Jackson. I'm like, well, okay, within range. So do you ever do polling where you're asking somebody for an answer to a question, or no?
You mean if it's like a quiz question?
Yes.
Like we want to know whether they know something? We don't like to do that. Sometimes it happens, but we don't like. In previous before I was at AP Newark, I remember we asked questions like, "Do you know who?" I remember there was something about a poll that we did where we asked people if they knew who the Sandinistas were. Things like that, but we don't like to do, because you're putting the respondents in a position where they might feel stupid, or we don't want to do that, and so you just don't want you don't want them to be able to say like, oh, and then of course if they do start feeling stupid, then they'll hang up on you. So there's that.
Right.
But
we used to throw those silly questions in once in a while for our own giggle value. Then we realized, no, we got to stop doing this. It's not helping. It gave us something to laugh about. When people didn't know who was buried in Grant's tomb, things like that. But it does make you sad sometimes about the civic understanding, civic education of some people and where they are on this. Well, Marjorie, we appreciate your joining us. It was a last-minute request, and I thank you very much for joining us. If folks want to follow and get these polling results, how do they go about doing that?
It is apnewark.org, and you can get all our polls and the whole questionnaire and the results and how the questions are worded and the methodology. So we're very, very transparent on how we do our surveys.
Real quick,
you can see that.
Real quick, if somebody wants to be polled, can they also provide the demographics and things like that?
No. We're the kind of polls there are polls that like you can like say, oh, I want to be a respondent. There's in our kind of polling, we don't like that. That you want to it's in probability polling. You want to be able to pick the respondents. You don't want the respondents to pick you. So, because in the past there has been like polls where respondents would like candidates would tell people their people who like them, oh, call up this poll and join their poll so they would get their numbers up high. You don't want that. So we would like we'll go through and we'll like call people. We'll like we like look into their like telephone numbers. We'll like call them. We'll send them postcards and we'll ask them to be part of our panel, to be part of our service. And they can say no, of course. But that's how we do it. You can't call up Newark and say, oh, I want to be part of your poll. No.
Yeah,
So,
I was with a firm, and we used to do focus groups. And that's a room
different.
for 12 people. Yeah, and
Yes.
although people wanted to volunteer to do that, and we'd say no, because we wanted to be able to just pick them as we picked them.
right,
And,
you want to pick
we-
people by their demos or whatever. And,
Right.
yeah, you don't want people to say, oh, I want to do it, because there's something fishy about people who want to do
They're
it.
up to something. Yeah, we would show them a campaign ad to get their thoughts on it. And
Yeah.
they'd sit there holding a dial in their hand, turning it back and forth when they thought it was a good part of the ad. Yeah, we didn't want people volunteering to do that either. Marjorie, thanks so much. We appreciate you taking time to join us today. Good stuff, as always.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ted. Hey, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden, Pirate Baseball tonight. Stick around.
Do you need a fast, friendly notary service that is open in the evening? Sandy Howell Notary Services is here for you, offering new PA and West Virginia plates and ready to assist with your vehicle, boat, motorcycle, and ATV registrations and transfers, plate renewals, and more. Serving Fayette County and all surrounding areas, open weekdays from 10 to 8:30 and Saturdays from 9 to 5. Sandy Howell Notary Services, Dry Knob Road, Smithfield. Call 724-564-8955. Big enough to serve you, small enough to know you by name.
Come on down to Live Casino this August and get ready to push your luck for the chance to win up to $250,000 cash. Earn entries daily in August. Then be sure to join our drawings on Friday, August 28th and Saturday, August 29th. We will draw 25 winners each day, but only one will take home the $250,000 cash grand prize. Make your play at Live Casino, Route 30 at Westmoreland Mall. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott in Uniontown is a proud sponsor of Sportsline. When you work with Janie, it's about going beyond investing. It's about connecting your life and your finances in a way that makes sense for you. The team partners with you through each stage of life to help you set and reach your financial goals. To learn more about the Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group at Janie, be sure to check out their website at www.lhwag.com. Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
For over 50 years, Mauser's Tire Center has kept our community rolling safely. Located on Route 40 West at Seawrights Crossroads, they're your trusted source for new, used, and recap tires, plus expert repairs. Need a new set or a quick fix? Then call Mauser's at 724-249-2410, and they'll get you ready for the road. Mauser's Tire Center, 5 decades of keeping you safe.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30, and Saturdays, 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Rags a call today, 724-439-3228, for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has two convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Borges.
For funeral services from pre-need to at-need, burial or cremation, call Gates Funeral Home and Crematory, located at 136 North Gallatin Avenue in a beautifully restored historic home. Family owned and operated by Rick Gates, former Brownsville resident and Guyville alumni, the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory offers warmth, convenience, affordability, and ample parking. With a knowledgeable funeral director and compassionate staff, the Gates family and the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory are ready to assist you.
And that's a wrap for the Afternoon Drive show for a Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow with Bill again, doing another short show because of Pirate Baseball. Glad to be on the air, nonetheless. You know, we were talking about polling. When I was with a polling firm originally in the mid-'80s, of course, Ronald Reagan was in his second term at that point, and there was a congressional district we were polling in, and 87% of the people could identify the president by name. We said, who is the president of the United States? 13% could not give the answer Ronald Reagan, and it was 1987.
Wow.
Or 1986. You would think more people would know, but I'm always shocked how few people respond to who the vice president of the United States is.
Well, and just ask them who their local representatives are. It's like crickets.
Oh, forget it. Yeah, I mean, I've worked at the, as folks know, at the congressional level, at the legislative level, and we do a lot of civics lessons with people being polite, saying, well, no, we're not, I don't work for a U.S. senator, I work for a state senator. If you have a veterans issue, you want to go to your U.S., that sort of thing. And that's a shame, but, sometimes those of us geeks in politics think everybody knows everything, like we think we do.
Yeah, exactly.
But they have other lives, too. They've raising children, cooking meals, going to work.
And some people just don't care. That should be a line on those polls too. I don't care.
I don't care. That could be. It's a good idea. We'll have to ask next time we have Marjorie Conley on from AP North. We'll ask her, is there an option to say, I don't care? Maybe they do. All right, folks. Fox News coming up at the top of the hour is national news, followed by local, state news, and regional news, sports, weather, you name it. Pirate Baseball pregame, 6:15. Thanks for listening. We'll talk tomorrow on WMBS Uniontown.
Polls still open in 6 states. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. In Wisconsin, self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong is hoping to secure the nomination for governor, but she failed to gain two key endorsements from fellow progressives.
Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have stopped short of endorsing her, and the outgoing Democrat Governor Tony Evers campaigned with her primary opponent, David Crowley. Evers is